Back in the shop with another issue here. It's a heating issue this time, and let me explain what's going on. The thermostat's calling for heat, but it's only 15 degrees in here.
Buckle up for safety as I give you a day in the life of facilities maintenance.
You can see our heat duct running down the center of the room. And there's one of the vent openings right there. And right beside it is our air intake for the air exchange. Now, there's no filter in there. So that means all the dust from the room, and there's a lot of it. When I was changing the lights up there was dust all over everything. And all that dust is being drawn into the unit outside. So this is what we've got going on outside. It's a package unit, combination furnace and air conditioner. And in their wisdom, they installed it right beside the dust collection bin. Our bags are enclosed in this right here. I built this, by the way. I think if you go back to maybe episode 2, early days, there's a video where I built this protection around the dust collection bins. They used to be just enclosed in big plastic bags, and they were getting all kinds of condensation in there, and they needed something different. And so I came up with this idea to protect it from the elements, but also allow any moisture to not collect and condense and whatnot. Anyways, back on topic here. A couple issues that I'm seeing with this right away is that to allow for more makeup air, the installer who put this in put a duct in here, so this is able to draw air in. The problem is that the fine dust particulates from the dust collection bags right here are being drawn straight into the unit. The other thing I'm noticing here is this is where our condensate drip line is. There's no P-trap here or anything. This just dribbled out onto the ground. That's incorrect. There should be a P-trap here. But let's take this cover off and see what we've got for a filter setup inside.
Seriously? Come on, man! What are you doing?
You've got to be kidding me! Okay, I see a problem here right away. So clearly sawdust is getting in here. Take a look at our filter there. It's just laying up against here. I'm gonna go shut this off so I can take a better look. Some rat turds down there. Now I should go get my knee pad, but okay, so I see a problem here right away. There's no rack for this filter. It just sits here. Besides the fact that it is stuffed dirty, which of course it's going to be because it's breathing in all kinds of dust and sawdust from the collector beside us, and an access panel door to be able to change the filter wasn't installed here. So what it means is that you have to unscrew it every time, and so you're not going to be doing your maintenance as regular. But yeah, there's no rack here. This needs a filter. That's not even a question. For whatever reason, the installer didn't think it needed a filter, and so he didn't put the filter rack in here. So this filter just sits loose in here, and so when it's running it gets sucked up like this, but when it's not running it just falls away like that. it's not going to do a very good job of filtering like that. Okay. This was just a poor installation all the way around. It's a good unit. There's nothing wrong with the unit itself. It's just no consideration was given to the application and what it needs. I'm gonna go grab a compressed air line and just blow as much of the dust out of here as I can. This is an example of cutting corners that you pay for later. The installer should have known better, in my opinion. He's dealing with a wood shop. He's dealing with not ordinary levels of dust. And so you want to make sure your filtration system is good, because this thing getting clogged up all the time is going to cause issues. It has to. So I need to make some changes to this to get it so that it actually works properly. Okay, that's got a lot of the surface dust out of there. I'm gonna have to fabricate a tray, because I was looking online, trying to source out a part, and it's one of those, it doesn't come with the unit, it's an optional part, and apparently now they're really hard to find. I found one on eBay, so I don't know if I'll chase that one down. I think I will make something. As for a hinged door, I guess we'll just have to live without that. And as for this situation here, probably now the best I can do is to block off this down here, which was intentionally left open to allow for more breathing of the actual dust collection bags themselves. But because they're causing a problem for this, I may need to just enclose this side here. And open it up on this side so it can breathe from this side. Yeah. Okay, well, for the time being, I'm just gonna have to stick another filter in there and just get this thing working again to take us through the next couple cold months here. So in the meantime, I've got this thing cleaned out. I'm going to put another filter in there the incorrect way, close it back up, reset our high limit trip, which is probably what is causing the thing to not work right now, and get it going again, and then go about making a rack for this thing to accept the filter properly. Oh, that's a lot better on the knees. So what I am going to do temporarily is just take some aluminum duct tape and just tag this thing in a few spots so that the filter stays in position and doesn't keep falling backwards. That's my temporary solution until I can build an actual tray to hold the filter in place. Okay, I've tagged this thing at each corner just to hold it in place, and that will temporarily keep it where it needs to stay to get us through the winter next month anyway. So I'm gonna button this thing back up. Just pulled the blower cover off, no surprise. It's filled up with sawdust right to the back. Having access to the compressed air from the shop and a long air hose comes in handy. Just used it to blow all the sawdust out of there. Why there's a plastic bag in where the igniter and the burners are, I'm not sure. Extra screws. Well, that's not where I would have put them. kind of want to keep combustibles out of this area. But I can use the extra screws. Let us go and turn you back on and see if it fires up, see if I get any error codes, and see where that leads us. You can see that I have a high limit switch with a reset down here, and it was not tripped. So
I'm going to surmise that you have been quite literally suffocating.
turn the breaker back on. And the system is in wait mode, so let's see if it starts up. People complain about it being cold in the shop. I think they just need to work outside more often. It's kind of nice in here. So the fan is running. I can hear that. And I can feel air being drawn in through here.
It's like a vacuum cleaner.
What I want this unit to do now is go through a startup. See if we fire up. So currently it's showing just a green heartbeat. That is no error. But by shutting the power off and turning it back on, that would have cleared anything if there was an error there. Okay. There's our inducer starting up. So the next thing to happen, or that I want to hear happen, is I want to hear it try and fire. And away we go.
Yep, I didn't have to do anything other than clean it out to get it running again, so for all intents and purposes, it was suffocating.
So obviously what was happening is this filter can be so plugged up so as to prevent this thing from firing up. Now that it's got a clean filter in there, it's working, so I really need to get on putting in a proper rack to hold the filter in place. I just wish that when they first installed this, I think it was about 3.5 years ago, just before I started here, I really wish they would have done two things. Put the filter rack in there, because it clearly needs a filter, and put the door kit on, which allows you to just open the door to change the filter very easily. You don't have to unscrew the cover and remove that to get at the filter. You can just access it. Inevitably, the filter's not going to get changed often enough. If you make it easy for people, then you can just say once a month, change the filter, and be done with it. The filter that I put in here came out of a 5-pack that I bought for the shop at least 2 years ago, and only 2 have been used out of that pack. So they're going on a pace of about 1 filter a year, which is not so good. Well, we have heat once more, but it's only going to be temporary unless we sort a few things out. I have a bit of an idea here. I'll have to think about this a little more, but what I'm considering is creating my own access door right here, that I can just swing open a little access door right here to get into where the filter is.
I might have to delete that intake hood altogether because the filter kind of sits in the middle.
And then in that way, being more easily accessible, the shop teacher can have the students come out here and put a new filter in once a month quite easily. So I think that might be a solution. Room for improvement for sure. So I have to figure this out, think about it, and try and come up with some solutions to make this thing a little bit more service friendly.
You know, I've been giving some thought to the balancing of this system. Our vent ducting and our intake ducting are the same size. And then the vent duct itself is very non-restrictive. There's multiple openings all the way along. And so we've got 2 18 by 18 inch openings. That's a balanced system. So I'm not sure why the installer felt it necessary to put that extra hood right at the door, right beside the dust collection system outside to draw in all that exterior air, because when it's open, path of least resistance, it's sucking like a vacuum cleaner, so very little air is actually being drawn in through this vent up here to create any kind of air exchange within the room. It's basically drawing in its air from outside.
I'm thinking that maybe what I should do is close off that intake opening that was put in the access panel on the unit itself that's drawing all that dust in from the dust collector. I should be able to close that off and the unit not suffer for it, looking at the fact that my intake and my exhaust are the same size. But I think I'm going to try closing that off now, and we'll see how it performs and go from there. I've choked this down right now to, well, it says closed. So let's see what that looks like. Oh, I just heard the unit fire up again,
Which it wasn't doing before.
so clearly it's still able to run with that closed off. This is the only intake. Warm air going out, return air coming back. I don't know if it's my imagination or not, or if it's actually more audible through here now that that damper is closed outside. Not sure, but what I am sure about is that it wouldn't be too difficult to figure out a way to put a filter up there, and then that is something that could easily be changed on a regular basis, which would increase the life of the filter outside that's more difficult to access. I should easily be able to make some kind of frame that will accept a box filter or a filter over top of that. That would save a lot of dust from entering the unit outside. You can see how much dust is on the actual grate vents themselves. And no surprise, I mean, everything up here is covered in dust. It's a wood shop. It's just goes without saying that everything is going to get dust covered. But we also have to have a functional air intake and filter that as best as possible. Yep, I'm going to do that. I'm going to see if I can find an 18 by 18 by 4 inch filter and then make something to fit right over top of that grate that the filter slips in.
Pimp my heater!